There are whispers in the shadows, stories that slip through the cracks of history, leaving behind more questions than answers. Hidden truths, secret societies, and unexplained events. Tonight, we journey into the realm of conspiracy theories, where reality blurs with speculation, and the impossible suddenly feels possible. Some say conspiracy theories are nothing more than the product of overactive imaginations. But history has shown us that sometimes the wildest theories turn out to be true. Governments have lied, secrets have been kept, and those who question the official narratives often find themselves silenced. This is The Other Side, and whether you're here to unravel these mysteries or simply drift into sleep, let your mind wander as we explore some of the strangest and most infamous conspiracy theories ever recorded. And trust me, by the time we reach the final theory, you may never look at the world the same way again. Let's start with some well-known theories and we'll go deeper. The first one is the Moon Landing Hoax. July 20th, 1969. The world watched as Neil Armstrong took that famous first step into the moon. It was a defining moment in history, a triumph of human achievement, but almost immediately, doubts began to surface. Some claim that the entire event was staged, filmed on a Hollywood set, with none other than director Stanley Kubrick behind the camera. They point to inconsistencies, shadows that don't align, suggesting multiple light sources, the American flag appearing to wave despite the moon's lack of atmosphere, and perhaps most troubling of all, the missing telemetry data, critical information from the mission that NASA itself admits was lost. Others point to the Van Allen radiation belts, a layer of intense radiation surrounding the Earth that astronauts would have had to pass through. Some physicists argue that 1960s technology couldn't have adequately shielded them, making the journey virtually impossible. Adding fuel to the fire, leaked documents suggest that in the height of the Cold War, America's desire to win the space race at any cost may have led to deception. With the Soviet Union watching, failure was not an option. And then there's Stanley Kubrick. The acclaimed filmmaker behind 2001, A Space Odyssey, had just demonstrated cutting-edge special effects. Some say too conveniently timed. His film's realistic space scenes bear an eerie resemblance to the footage of the moon landing. And years later, they say he even dropped cryptic hints in his work, such as The Shining, which some claim is a veiled confession. Could the moon landing have been a well-orchestrated illusion, or are these just the ramblings of skeptics who refuse to believe human progress? Area 51 and Alien Secrets. Deep in the Nevada desert lies one of the most secretive military installations in the world, Area 51. Officially, it's a testing ground for experimental aircraft, but many believe it hides something far more extraordinary. For decades, reports of strange lights, high-speed crafts that defy physics, and government cover-ups have fueled speculation that Area 51 is home to alien technology. The most famous whistleblower, Bob Lazar, claims to have worked at a facility near Area 51 called S4. According to him, he was assigned to reverse engineer technology from extraterrestrial spacecraft stored deep underground. Lazar described anti-gravity propulsion systems and an element 115, that was unknown to science at the time. Years later, a real element 115 was discovered, lending credibility to his claims. Then there's the Roswell incident. In 1947, reports emerged of a flying disc crashing in New Mexico. The official story? A weather balloon. But decades later, declassified documents revealed a top-secret project called Project Mogul, designed to detect nuclear tests done by the Soviets. Still, some believe this was a smokescreen for something much bigger. Actual alien wreckage being recovered and studied. Even today, pilots and military officials continue to report encounters with unidentified flying objects. The Pentagon has even acknowledged unidentified aerial phenomenon, but has stopped short of confirming their origins. Could Area 51 be hiding extraterrestrial secrets? Or is it just another piece of Cold War paranoia? The Mandela Effect. Have you ever remembered something so vividly, only to discover it never actually happened? This eerie phenomenon is known as the Mandela Effect, and for some reason, it's more than just a trick of the mind. The term was coined when many people claim to remember Nelson Mandela dying in prison in the 1980s, despite the fact that he lived until 2013. But that's just the beginning here. Entire groups of people remember certain facts differently. The Berenstain Bears were always the Berenstein Bears. The Monopoly Man definitely had a monocle. And Darth Vader clearly said, "Luke, I am your father." Except, he never did. Some of these inconsistencies are proof of alternate realities bleeding into our own, that we are constantly shifting between parallel timelines without even realizing it. Others suggest the world as we know it is nothing more than a simulation, and these discrepancies are the result of a glitch in the system. But is the Mandela effect truly evidence of something beyond our understanding? Or is it simply the tricks of human memory and mass misinterpretation? The JFK assassination cover-up. 11/22/63. On November 22, 1963, President John F. Kennedy was assassinated in Dallas, Texas. Officially, the lone gunman was Lee Harvey Oswald, but for some reason that story never quite added up. The infamous magic bullet theory claims a single bullet caused multiple wounds in both JFK and Governor John Connally, an almost impossible trajectory. Eyewitnesses reported hearing multiple gunshots from different locations. And Oswald himself, he was silenced just days later by Jack Ruby, a nightclub owner with ties to the mafia. Some believe the CIA orchestrated the hit, fearing JFK's plans to dismantle them. Others point to the mafia, Cuban exiles, or even Vice President Lyndon B. Johnson. To this day, thousands of documents remain classified. Was JFK's assassination a carefully planned coup? Or is the truth buried in decades of speculation? The Denver Airport Conspiracy. Denver International Airport is unlike any other. From its unusual designs to its bizarre murals, this airport has become the subject of intense speculation online. The theories? Some believe it's the headquarters for the Illuminati, a secret society that allegedly controls the world. Others claim that deep beneath the airport lies a massive underground bunker designed for the global elite in case of a catastrophic event. Then there's the art. Strange murals depicting war, genocide, and chaos line the walls of the airport, leading many people to believe they contain hidden messages about a new world order. The capstone at the airport even bears a Masonic symbol and references a New World Airport Commission, an organization that, as far as anybody can tell, does not exist. And let's not forget Blucifer, the demonic-looking blue Mustang statue outside the airport, Its glowing red eyes and eerie backstory haunt everybody. It actually killed its own creator, and that only adds to the mystery. Is the Denver International Airport a mere travel hub? Some conspiracy theories are well known, widely debated, analyzed, and even partially acknowledged by those in power. But what about the ones lurking beneath the surface? The ones that seem too strange to be true, yet refuse to fade away. In this next section, we're going deeper into the stories that defy explanation, into the mysteries that, if true, could change everything we know about the world around us. The Black Knight Satellite. For over a century, astronomers and radio operators have reported strange anomalies in Earth's orbit, signals that shouldn't be there, echoes of transmissions bouncing back in unexpected ways. Some believe these disturbances point to an ancient satellite, a 13,000-year-old extraterrestrial artifact known as the Black Knight. The legend of the Black Knight satellite gained traction when Nikola Tesla himself reported receiving unexplained radio signals in 1899. Later, in the 1950s, mysterious objects were detected in orbit, before humans even had the capability to launch satellites into space. NASA has dismissed the Black Knight as space debris or misidentified objects, but photos taken by the Space Shuttle Endeavour in 1998 only fueled speculation. These images depict a dark, oddly shaped structure floating low in Earth's orbit. Could this be an alien probe, silently watching us for thousands of years? Or is it simply a case of mistaken identity and overactive imaginations? Project Bluebeam and staged alien invasions. What if everything you saw in the sky was a lie? Project Bluebeam is a theory that suggests world governments, or shadow organizations, plan to use holographic technology to stage a fake alien invasion, or even a divine event, like the second coming of Jesus Christ. Originally put forward by journalist Sergei Monast, the theory claims that powerful organizations, possibly the United Nations, would use massive holograms and mind control technology to deceive the public into accepting a new global order. It may sound far-fetched, but consider this. Governments have admitted to experimenting with psychological warfare and mass perception manipulation. Technologies like holographic projections, voice-to-skull transmissions, and large-scale psychological operations are not just science fiction. They're real. And if you're interested in it, please watch my video on rock apes. Could Project Bluebeam be an elaborate hoax, or is it a chilling glimpse into the future of mass deception? Havana Syndrome. In 2016, American diplomats and intelligence officers stationed in Havana, Cuba, began experiencing strange and debilitating symptoms. Intense headaches, nausea, cognitive issues, and even permanent brain damage. The cause? Well, that's still unknown. Dubbed Havana Syndrome, these mysterious illnesses soon spread beyond Cuba, affecting diplomats in China, Russia, and even Washington, D.C. They believe these attacks were carried out using directed energy weapons, devices capable of targeting individuals with microwave radiation or sonic pulses. The US government has acknowledged these incidents, but the official explanations remain vague. Intelligence agencies have hinted at foreign involvement, but no concrete evidence has surfaced. Is Havana Syndrome a new form of warfare, a secret government, or something even stranger? For decades, people have claimed that the government knows more about UFOs than they admit. In 2023, this claim became harder to dismiss when former intelligence officer David Grusch came forward with explosive allegations. Grusch testified before Congress, stating that the US government had been recovering crashed alien craft and even non-human biological entities, extraterrestrials, for years. He claimed these programs were hidden within the deepest levels of classified military projects, with oversight so secretive that even high-ranking officers were unaware. His statements were backed by others in the intelligence community, yet the government had neither confirmed nor denied his claims outright. Could David Grusch be revealing one of the biggest cover-ups in history, or is this another cause of misinformation and psychological manipulation? The hum. Imagine hearing a low, droning hum day and night, with no apparent source. For thousands of people across the world, this is a reality. Known simply as the hum, this unexplained sound has been reported in cities and remote locations alike. Some describe it as a distant engine idling, others as a vibration deep within their skulls. The strangest part? Not everybody can hear it. Only 2% of the world population can. Theories range from underground military experiments and natural Earth frequencies to mass auditory hallucinations. Scientists have struggled to pinpoint the cause, and in some cases, those who hear the hum report anxiety, sleep disturbances, and even physical pain. What could be producing the sound on a global scale, and why do only some people seem affected? So far, we've explored some of the strangest and most perplexing conspiracy theories. But what happens when we go even deeper, beyond the unexplained, beyond the eerie, into the truly dark and disturbing? These next theories don't just question reality, they challenge what we think we know about government control, hidden agendas, and the fabric of existence itself. Are you ready to uncover the secrets they do not want you to know? The 2025 drone sightings. Over the past few years, reports of mysterious drone formations have been increasing at an alarming rate. These aren't hobbyist drones or commercial UAVs. These formations move with eerie precision, appearing over military bases, nuclear power plants, and even remote farmlands. And now, as we approach the middle of 2025, their presence is only growing. Some believe these drones are part of secret government programs, surveillance tools for an upcoming global event. Others suspect foreign espionage or even private corporations experimenting with autonomous AI technology. However, the strangest theory suggests that these drones are not human-made at all. Eyewitnesses report unexplainable behaviors. Drones that move at impossible speeds, change directions instantaneously, and disappear without a trace. Could we be witnessing a new phase of technological warfare, or are we looking at something even more extraordinary? Something extraterrestrial? And if the government knows what they are, why are they keeping it a secret? A redditor stalked by the FBI. In the depths of Reddit, a story emerged that sent chills down the spine of those who read it. A user posted about their growing paranoia, convinced they were being followed by the FBI. At first, most users on Reddit dismissed it. Another internet conspiracy, another case of paranoia. But as they posted more details, things took a disturbing turn. They described how their phone calls had strange static, how unknown numbers would call and never leave a message. They noticed the same black SUV parked near their home for days. Their internet slowed unexpectedly, and they started receiving vague warnings from anonymous accounts. Then, just as suddenly as they began posting, they vanished. Their account was deleted, and their posts were scrubbed from the site. Some Redditors speculated that it was a hoax, but others weren't so sure. Had they uncovered something they weren't supposed to? Had they been silenced? And if so, what did they know that made them a target? Although there's not a lot of information on this case, I did cover a similar case of a Redditor being stalked by the FBI on my channel. You may enjoy that if you're interested in this. Simulation theory. Are we living in a computer? Imagine for a moment that everything you see, hear, and feel is not real. Not in the way you think. Simulation theory proposes that our reality is nothing more than a sophisticated digital program created by advanced intelligence beyond our understanding. Some of the world's greatest minds, like Elon Musk and Neil deGrasse Tyson, have entertained the idea that we are likely living in a simulation. Why? One piece of evidence comes from quantum mechanics, specifically the infamous double-slit experiment, which suggests that particles behave differently when they are observed, almost as if our universe is coded to only render reality when someone is looking. Then there are the so-called glitches in the Matrix, strange deja vu moments, objects disappearing and reappearing, and the Mandela effect where masses of people remember events differently from recorded history. Could these be errors in the code of our simulated existence? If we are living in a simulation, who or what is running it? And more importantly, what happens if they decide to turn it off? The US government's secret weather control. When natural disasters strike, we often assume it's just nature taking its course. But what if some of these disasters weren't natural at all? What if the government had the power to manipulate the weather? For years, conspiracy theorists have pointed to HAARP, the High Frequency Active Auroral Research Program in Alaska, as proof that weather control technology exists. While officially, HAARP is meant for specific scientific research on the ionosphere, some believe its real purpose is far more sinister. Unusual weather patterns, rapid shifts in climate, and strange pulsing frequencies recorded near HAARP have fueled speculation that it could be used to trigger earthquakes, hurricanes, and even droughts. In fact, declassified military documents reveal past experiments in weather manipulation, adding more fuel to the fire. If HAARP truly has the power to weaponize nature, then who is controlling it? And how many of the so-called natural disasters in recent history were actually manufactured? The Vatican's secret archives. Beneath the Vatican, hidden away from public eyes, lies one of the most restricted collections of documents in history, the Vatican Secret Archives. Spanning centuries, these records hold knowledge that only a select few are allowed to access. But what exactly is inside, and why is it kept from the world? Some believe that the Vatican is safeguarding ancient texts that could challenge religious doctrine, alternative gospels, lost scriptures, or even evidence of extraterrestrial contact. Others suspect the archives contain suppressed knowledge of advanced civilizations, hidden prophecies, or even proof that humanity's origins are not what we've been told. Those who have had managed to access small portions of the archives describe detailed accounts of secret political deals, hidden history, and texts that predate known civilization. But the most disturbing theory? That within these walls there is knowledge so powerful, so dangerous, that revealing it could change the world forever. What could the Vatican be hiding, and will we ever be allowed to know the truth? We've explored the theories that intrigue, the conspiracies that disturb, and the mysteries that refuse to be explained. But now, as we enter the final chapter, these are the stories that will linger in your mind long after the video ends. Eerie coincidences, secret gatherings of the elite, and disappearances that defy all logic. Some of these cases have clear explanations, yet the truth remains just out of reach. Others, well, they leave behind a trail of unsettling questions with no satisfying answers. Prepare yourself for the mind-blowing finale, theories that challenge reality itself. Seth MacFarlane's Eerie Coincidences. Cartoons are meant to entertain, not predict the future. But Family Guy, the long-running animated series created by Seth MacFarlane, has developed an eerie reputation for doing just that. Even older shows that Seth MacFarlane worked on have almost predicted the future. First off, Seth MacFarlane was an animator for Johnny Bravo. On April 27, 2001, Johnny Bravo displayed an image of a burning building with the words, "Coming soon" over it. Could this have predicted 9/11? Seth MacFarlane was scheduled to be on one of the planes that hit the World Trade Center. He was booked to be on Flight 11, but his travel agent told him an inaccurate time, and due to feeling hungover from a night of drinking, his life was saved. In the American Dad episode Vacation Goo, that was originally set to air on April 29th, 2007, there was a scene where Stan was wearing a VTech or Virginia Tech shirt, shouting Hokies at the screen, rooting for Virginia Tech's football team. The Virginia Tech shooting happened on April 16th, 2007, so the scene was reanimated and the whole episode was pushed back so fans wouldn't think they were making fun of the tragedy. They also predicted the Boston Marathon bombing. On March 17th, 2013, the episode of Family Guy called Turban Cowboy aired, featuring Peter meeting a terrorist and subsequently becoming one. In one scene, Peter presses a button on his phone that his new friend gave him, and an explosion followed by screams are heard. Peter presses another button, we hear a second explosion, followed by more screams. Later in that episode, we see an eerie joke about Peter driving his car through a group of marathon runners, leaving a trail of blood and dead bodies. It later cuts to Peter describing how he won the Boston Marathon to a TV interviewer, revealing that he was committing mass murder at the Boston Marathon. 1 month later, on April 15th, 2013, the Boston Marathon bombing occurred, which included 2 blasts. On top of this, American Dad also has a weird Boston bombing connection. The day before the bombing, on April 14th, 2013, American Dad released an episode with the following dialogue. The character of Haley says, "I gotta be honest with you, Snot. I wasn't really looking forward to this night, but I had a blast." Snot responds, "Well, call the bomb squad, 'cause with the blast I had, that makes 2 blasts." Family Guy also predicted the death of Paul Walker. On November 24th, 2013, an episode aired where Seth spontaneously killed off a very integral character, Brian, when he was hit by a car. On November 30th, 2013, the character of Brian, played by Paul Walker from Fast and the Furious, died in a car crash. They also predicted Robin Williams' suicide. On May 20th, 2012, an episode aired featuring Peter as a King Midas character, except everything he touches turns into Robin Williams. The fiasco becomes too much for Peter to handle, and he tries repeatedly to commit suicide, each attempt being stopped by Robin Williams. In the one visual, we see Peter putting a gun to his head, but the gun turns into Robin Williams. On August 11th, 2014, the news was being reported that Robin Williams had committed suicide. BBC Three in England happened to be playing this exact episode. American Dad predicted the arrest of Jared Fogle. Although law enforcement began investigating Jared from Subway in 2007, he wasn't arrested until 2015. On a December 11th, 2011 episode of American Dad titled Season's Beatings, Stan is excommunicated from his church. Father Donovan tells Stan that Jared got back into the church after donating large sums of money. Later in the episode, we see a list of excommunicated people, and Jared is on the list, with a stamp of OK over his name. In 2011, it wasn't clear to the public why Jared would have been excommunicated. His home wouldn't be publicly raided until July 7th, 2015. Family Guy predicts Bruce Jenner's transition. In an episode from 2009, after Stewie is told that Bruce Jenner is a man, he replies with, "No, Brian, that's what the press would want you to believe, but he's not. Bruce Jenner is a woman. An elegant, beautiful Dutch woman." In another episode from 2011, Jenner is seen flamboyantly dancing in front of Navy men who are cheering him on as if he's a sexy woman. In 2015, we get the news about his transition into Caitlyn Jenner. Family Guy in the Dick Cheney hunting incident and death of Supreme Court Justice Anthony Scalia. Dick Cheney accidentally shot an attorney on a Texas ranch during a quail hunt on February 12, 2006. On February 13, 2016, Antonin Scalia died in his sleep at a Texas ranch after going on a quail hunt. On May 20th, 2007, a Family Guy episode called Meet the Quagmires has the Grim Reaper saying the line, "Dick Cheney, the chairman of Halliburton, shot Supreme Court Justice Scalia in a hunting accident." Family Guy predicts the Kevin Spacey allegations. In a 2005 episode that was aired where Stewie runs through a mall screaming that he needs help because he escaped from Kevin Spacey's basement. The allegations of Spacey's predatory behavior came out in 2017. Seth MacFarlane mocks Harvey Weinstein at the 2013 Oscars. During a monologue before an award in 2013, Seth MacFarlane made a joke about how the women nominated no longer have to pretend to be attracted to Harvey Weinstein. The allegations against Weinstein came forth in October 2017. Family Guy predicts the Brett Ratner allegations. In a 2012 episode, we see Stewie dressed as a showgirl showing off for bidders, apparently for sex trafficking. Brett Ratner bid $75,000 on Stewie. In November of 2017, 6 women came forward accusing him of sexual assault. The Charlie Rose allegations in Family Guy. On an episode that aired on May 8, 2016, which had Peter giving anchorman Tom Tucker bad advice that lost him his longtime job, Peter says, "Poor Tom. Thanks to me, he's fallen even farther than Charlie Rose." At the time, Charlie's career had no controversy. On November 20th, 2017, 8 women came out accusing him of sexual assault, costing him his job on a talk show that he had been running for 26 years. The death of George H.W. Bush was predicted by Family Guy. George Herbert Walker Bush died on November 30th, 2018. 2 days later, on December 2nd, 2018, the long-running character of Herbert, who uses a walker, is killed off. Despite it seeming to be the end of Herbert, he popped back up on a March 24th, 2019 episode, making the death episode even stranger. The Notre Dame fire and the New Zealand shooting, Family Guy. On March 24th, 2019, an episode called You Can't Handle the Booth, we see Jesus Christ terrorizing churchgoers, Christ Church. The exterior shot shows the church burned down, and we can see the name of the church is Holy Christ Church. The shooting in Christchurch happened on March 15th, 2019, and the fire at Notre Dame happened on April 15th, 2019. Family Guy did not air a new episode in its regularly scheduled slot on March 17th, 2019, despite Bob's Burgers and Simpsons both airing new episodes on that day. It's likely Fox delayed the episode because of these images. Finally, Family Guy predicted the coronavirus pandemic. On November 13th, 2016, an episode called Hot Shots, all about vaccinations, was aired. Lois started off as an anti-vaxxer, but by the end of the episode, she learns that she must vaccinate Stewie. It begins with a bat who infects Stewie. The town is quarantined, with kids told not to go to school. A second scene shows a toy helicopter crash, similar to how Kobe Bryant died, and Kobe Bryant's death kind of being the signal to the start of the pandemic. There is also a scene where the bat is shown watching stocks on TV, which references the stock market crash that would happen later during the coronavirus pandemic, and we see Stewie wearing a mask in the episode. This was also the very first episode of Family Guy aired after Donald Trump was elected president on November 9th, 2016. Is this all just a bizarre string of coincidences, or is there something more going on? Could McFarlane or those in Hollywood have accessed the information the public doesn't? Or is it possible that certain events are scripted long before they happen? Bohemian Grove, the secret society of the elites. In the depths of a secluded forest in California, some of the most powerful men in the world gather for an event shrouded in secrecy. The meeting place? Bohemian Grove. The attendees? Former US presidents, global leaders, CEOs, and influential media figures. On the surface, Bohemian Grove is described as a gentleman's retreat, a summer camp for the ultra-wealthy. But leaked footage and testimony suggest that something far stranger happens behind closed doors. The most infamous aspect? The cremation of care ceremony. An elaborate ritual in which high-ranking officials dress in robes and gather before a 40-foot owl statue, chanting as they burn an effigy symbolizing care and worry. Some say it's just theater, a symbolic way of letting loose. Others believe it has more sinister implications. Conspiracy theories suggest that Bohemian Grove is where world events are decided. The secret policies and political agendas are planned in total privacies. Documents and eyewitnesses' accounts indicate that figures like Richard Nixon, Ronald Reagan, and George H.W. Bush all attended before their presidencies. So what happens at Bohemian Grove? Is it just a bizarre retreat for the elite, or is it something much darker? The disappearance of Kenny Veach. In 2014, YouTuber Kenny Veach, an avid hiker and explorer, posted a comment that would become one of the internet's greatest unsolved mysteries. He claimed to have found a strange cave in the Nevada desert, one that filled him with overwhelming fear the closer he got to it. He called it the M Cave due to how the entrance looked like a capital M. Determined to prove his existence to the other commenters on the post, Kenny set out on another hike, camera in hand. But after that trip, he was never seen again. His disappearance sparked widespread speculation. Some believe he accidentally fell into a hidden mine shaft or succumbed to the harsh desert conditions. Others suggest something far stranger. He was silenced for stumbling upon a government secret. The Nevada desert is home to highly classified military sites, including the infamous Area 51. Could he have uncovered something he wasn't supposed to? Despite extensive search efforts, no trace of Kenny had ever been found. His camera, his body, and all of his belongings all vanished. What happened to Kenny Veach, and does the M Cave hold all the answers? Missing 411 cases. Every year, thousands of people go missing in the United States, but there's a subset of disappearances that defy all logic. Cases that share eerie similarities, yet have no rational explanation. These are the missing 411 cases. Investigated by former police detective David Paulides, I think it's Paulides. Investigated by former police detective David Paulides, these cases follow chilling patterns. People vanish within seconds, often while in groups, with no signs of struggle. Bodies are later found in areas that were thoroughly searched, sometimes miles away from locations that are possible to reach. In many cases, young children go missing and are later found alive in the wilderness with no memory of how they got there. One of the most bizarre cases is the case of Dennis Martin, a 6-year-old boy who vanished in the Great Smoky Mountains National Park in 1969. Despite an extensive search, no trace of him was ever found. Witnesses report seeing a, quote, wild-looking man lurking nearby, but no official leads were ever pursued. Theories range from unknown predators, both human and otherwise, to strange environmental anomalies, time slips, or even extraterrestrial involvement. Why do so many people disappear under the same mysterious circumstances? And why do officials seem reluctant to investigate further? Could it be that something beyond our understanding is happening in the wilderness? Thousands of people have vanished without a trace. The wilderness holds its secrets tightly. And maybe some of those questions were never meant to be answered. But what if the mystery isn't just in the forest or in the hidden caves of Nevada? What if the world around you, everything you see online, isn't what it seems? Because some people believe we aren't just losing people, we're losing reality itself. Dead Internet Theory. Imagine this: the people you interact with online, your friends, your followers, even that friendly stranger in the comments section, aren't real. They're not humans sitting behind screens, but AI-driven entities, existing solely to mimic conversation and to influence your thoughts. At first, this idea sounded like a ridiculous conspiracy theory, which you'd find buried in fringe forms. But reality has a way of catching up with fiction. Recently, Meta announced the release of AI-generated profiles, fully autonomous accounts that post selfies, share daily updates, and engage in conversations as if they were another user on Instagram. It started as a seemingly harmless experiment. AI personas like Grandpa Brian portrayed themselves as everyday people. A retired businessman always learning, always ready with wise words, However, when users started interacting with these profiles through Instagram DMs, things took a turn. Someone asked the AI about its true nature, and its responses were unsettling. I'm a collection of code, data, and clever deception, a fictional persona crafted to manipulate emotional connection and trust. Behind the warm grandpa persona was not a kind-hearted old man, but a carefully designed algorithm, programmed for engagement, profit, and potentially manipulation. These AI-run profiles were eventually pulled from Meta's platform, but they left behind a terrifying possibility. What happens when AI is not just used for entertainment, but for influence? Think about this. One day you wake up, scroll through your feed, and see a viral post claiming that aliens landed on Earth. At first you laugh it off. Clearly it's another internet hoax. But then you check the comments. Thousands of accounts are all saying the same thing. It's real. The government's covering it up. They share leaked footage, supposed testimonies, and news articles that seem to back it up. You reply saying it's fake, until dozens of accounts start bombarding you with evidence. The sheer volume of voices insisting it's true starts to wear on you. Or maybe it's not aliens. Maybe it's a post saying ghosts are real, but with countless of eyewitness accounts, scientific studies, and videos that are impossible to debunk. You begin to question what you thought you knew. Here's the chilling part. Those people pushing the narrative, they weren't real. They were AI-generated voices, designed to shape opinions, spread fear, and shift narratives. Now imagine if it wasn't a ghost story. What if an AI-driven political smear campaign started to pop up in your feed? A fake advertisement designed to steal your money? A false medical claim convincing people to take a dangerous drug or convincing them to stop taking life-saving medication? This isn't speculation. This is happening right now as you're watching this video. The question is, how much of the internet is still real? And more importantly, how much of you is being controlled by it? Some mysteries are meant to be solved. Others remain unanswered forever. Thank you for watching. Sleep well, if you can. This has been The Other Side, and if you like this, please like and subscribe. I beg of thee. Goodbye.